Welcome to our labs.
Bacterial and parasitic infections are some of the most severe or significant types of infections worldwide, and that's why it's such an important part of the research that we do here at the Doherty Institute.
So research within the Doherty focuses on some bacteria that you may have heard of, such as Salmonella, E. coli. In addition to that, there are parasites that can infect humans. The most common one that you may have heard of is malaria.
So bacteria are single-celled organisms, and most are harmless, but obviously some that get into places where we don't want them can cause disease and damage. And those are the pathogenic bacteria that we get worried about. Whereas parasites are often multicellular organisms. That's generally an organism that lives and takes advantage of another living creature. And so part of the work that we do here at the Institute is trying to understand how they do that and developing new therapeutics to try and prevent them from being able to cause disease.
So the work that's actually performed contributes to understanding how our body can detect and respond to these infections, and that leads to the discovery of new therapeutics to treat or prevent these infections and new ways of perhaps developing surveillance mechanisms.
So at the Institute, there's a lot of work particularly around how we can apply really exciting new technologies in trying to identify and surveil what's happening with various types of pathogens in the environment. So advanced genomic type technologies, and also taking lots of clinical isolates to see how these organisms are evolving in response to what we do in hospitals and in the community, to sort of monitor these organisms. And that understanding is really important because it can help us identify new diagnostics as well. We're also doing work with other partners nationally as well to try and get, through peak bodies, working towards trying to get new models in place for things like antibiotic subscription.
A researcher in the field of BPI, bacterial and parasitic infections, does a lot of different things in their day. They can be in the lab actually conducting the research, training junior researchers, teaching the next generation of scientists, reporting, advocating for science, and even getting out there into the community in addition to trying to raise funds to continue this research.
Well, the ultimate impact of this work is a future where people can go to the doctor or to the hospital and they can get a treatment that works first time, every time. We want people to, if they do get sick, know that there's a pathway where they can get a treatment and that it'll work.
A lot of this work is not only conducted within the Doherty, but it is a collaboration with clinicians, industry partners, both nationally and internationally, research academics, and bringing all of these researchers together to conduct impactful research on a local and international scale.
We come up with these wonderful ideas for how things could work, and then biology quite often says that's not at all how these things work at all. We've evolved to solve really interesting problems in completely counterintuitive ways, and it's that detective work, going through and trying to figure out how life has solved some really interesting problems, some really interesting challenges, and just to be the person who gets to do that, it's a real privilege and a lot of fun.